Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15.
And now your host, Catherine Turley.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Turley. I have two quick housekeeping things before I bring on today's guest. First, I hope you're already getting up, getting moving while listening to today's episode. I always encourage you to do that and to get moving for at least a 15-minute walk each day for all the many benefits of doing so. But I'd also love to be able to work out with you personally. So if you have not taken advantage of our online group fitness classes at Fit Armadillo that have been offered throughout the month of April, and now we're offering them into the month of May, specifically on Tuesdays and Thursdays through May, I wanted to invite you to try us out. Classes are currently being offered as pay what you can, because we want you to be able to work out with us regardless of your ability to pay. We know that this is a challenging time, so if you've ever wanted to work out with us and haven't before, I know our main offerings are our private sessions and our 10-week group fitness challenge, which has results guaranteed and is very hands-on and a lot of coaching there, so that's a higher price point as well. So maybe we haven't been affordable to you before, but you want to come try out a class, check out our schedule. It's fitarmadillo.com/classes. That's fitarmadillo.com/classes. And I plan to teach at least on Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout the rest of the month of May, and I'm happy to bring on additional instructors and times based on your feedback. So share that over at that same page and we'll get that going for you. The other housekeeping thing I have for you is that this is episode 249 of the show. So next episode, 250, will be our countdown episode. And I want to encourage you, if you haven't shared out an episode you really enjoy, maybe share that out. Even if you have, actually, I would say share that one more time before noon Eastern time on this Monday so that I can adjust the rankings accordingly. And in addition to, hopefully getting your favorite podcast as one in the top 5, getting that podcast show mentioned, I also wanted to share that after tomorrow's episode, we will take a short break from podcasts. I won't go straight into episode 251 because I'm looking to hire out some of the editing, and I had some challenges the last time I did this, so I'm going to take more time to get a great podcast show editor, but I'm looking for your help and support making that happen. So I'll share some ideas at the end of the podcast that won't even necessarily require you to actually become a sponsored member of the show officially. But before I do that, let's bring on my guest and share our conversation. So my guest today is Gabrielle Baumeyer. Gabrielle is the president and co-founder of Reason2Race, LLC. She has spent over 20 years coaching and consulting individuals in achieving extraordinary results. She is committed to the success of others and creates innovative and effective ways for community leaders to impact social change. In 2010, Gabrielle co-founded Reason2Race, where her primary goal is coaching nonprofits to have supporters advocate for their cause and raise funds for their mission. She also works with corporations to include their staff in health and wellness initiatives that forward their community outreach. Her efforts with Reason2Race have resulted in over 6,500 individuals completing 700 events and raising over $6 million for 400 local and international causes. I could share so much more about Gabrielle. I have more details over on the show notes page. I hope you'll check that out. She's very impressive, very passionate. And here she is. We'll chat more about Reason2Race, and she'll share more about it in her own words in our conversation. Welcome to the podcast, Gabrielle. I'm so excited to have you as my guest today.
Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so you have this great company, Reason2Race. Do you want to tell us about what that is first, just to get us started?
Sure. At Reason2Race, we're a consulting and fundraising platform, and our whole mission is to have people do something that's athletic and fun and keeps them fit, and to do it for a cause that's bigger than they are, because we've found that when people do things for others and they have a big context for doing things, they just are a little bit more accountable and they have a little bit more motivation to actually get that physical fitness goal in.
I love that. I mean, I'm glad that that's the reality, that people are motivated to help others, right?
Absolutely.
That's cool. So now I know you do this for individuals, but also for nonprofits and corporations. Can you share a little bit more about like how that would work? Like if I wanted to go, as an individual, I know, and maybe this is something different. So I think I'm going to be releasing this when we're still in our interesting state of affairs right now.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. So you're right. We do work with corporations and we work with nonprofits. And then obviously what I just mentioned is working with individuals. So when a company of any size, whether it's 5 people or 5,000 people, sometimes they want to do fitness related events. They want to keep their people healthy and get them outside being active. And they also want to do community outreach. So we figured out a way to marry those two worlds together. And it works quite well because the company will work with us to define a program that would be, it could be a 5K, it could be a walking challenge, it could be any kind of physical fitness goal that those people want to reach individually. And then we help them find the right nonprofits that are going to be that motivation for getting those physical fitness goals reached. So they might say, look, we want to focus on these 5 nonprofits, or we want to open it up and people can pick any charity that they'd like. And then each person who wants to, they can set up a fundraising campaign for that specific charity and write a story about their physical fitness goal and put whatever fundraising goal they like, because there's no minimum that people have to reach. And then they share it with their friends and family. And every time they do that and every time they get their donation, they say, wow, I guess I'm actually going to do this physical fitness goal. Right. I'm now on the hook. And that's what we do with corporations. And on the other side, and just to give you a little bit of context here, we've worked with, over time, we've probably helped folks impact 400 different nonprofits and raise about $6 million.
Wow.
And so we have a whole slew of charities with whom we've partnered, and we'll work with those charities to use this type of fundraising outlet as a new way to engage people. So charities usually do the standard stuff like the galas and the golf tournaments, and those are all well and good. And if they're working for them, they should totally do it. But if they want other creative ways to involve people and to have people really be a voice for their cause,
Sure.
then working with us is really a good option.
Yeah, no, there's that more personal aspect, right?
Exactly.
Hi, friends. That sound is the halfway point reminder for those of you joining us today and using the episode and our conversation to help you get in an out and back walk, but may only have truly 15 minutes. You'll want to turn around now because we're 7.5 minutes into the episode. All right, back to our conversation.
That's super cool. Do you have any examples, ones that stick out? I mean, I know you've done a few, obviously, with the statistics shared.
Sure. Well, there's one in particular that really comes to mind, and that is it's a nonprofit. It's a small one. It's called Together in Hope, and they do international work. And the founder of that organization, Diane, she came to us and said, "Look, I'm we have this new organization, and I'm just really bad at fundraising." And I said, "Well, I'm going to say something radical. You just don't try and fundraise, but rather tell the story of the work that you're doing in this country, and really have it be focused about that and calling people to make a difference alongside you." Mm-hmm. And they've raised, I don't know, maybe a couple $100,000 with us.
Wow.
And she went from I don't know how to fundraise and I'm not good at this, to with her first event, I think they came out of the gate with about 30 grand.
Wow.
So,
how many people did they have participating in that for the
Gosh, they probably had that first year, they had maybe 20 to 30 people.
Okay.
Yeah. And another part of our strategy is the nonprofit doesn't have to set up their own 5K event. Sure. Because what we've done is partnered with about 16 different events that are already going on in the Houston area. Mm-hmm. And they're just kind of spread out all over, throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And they're triathlons, half marathons, 5Ks. And those are just companies that's their job. That's what they do. And so we've partnered with them to have our nonprofit partners bring people to do those events and leverage all the heavy lifting that the event directors already are doing. Yeah. But the folks who are doing it for nonprofit are obviously raising money for their own charity. So it's a win-win for everyone. It's a great marriage, I guess you could say.
Yeah. No, do you sometimes, like, if someone wanted, I mean, I know it's a huge undertaking to mm-hmm. on an event, but do you ever do like the create an actual 5K like for the nonprofit as well, or?
We don't do that as at Reason to Race, and it sounds
Yeah.
like we would because the name race is in our our name.
Right.
But we can connect the nonprofit to resources to help them do that. And
Sure.
again, if they want to do that, it's completely fine, and they can talk with the people who we know who are really good at producing those events. And
Mhm.
then we continue working with them on the fundraising part and having the peer-to-peer option still available for people. So let's say nonprofit ABC says, hey, we want to produce a 5K in our neighborhood, and they have, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 500 people do it. Well, we'll work with them to have those several dozen, if not hundreds of people still raise money via a fundraising and online campaign. Because there's one thing to have people do the event, but it's another thing to have people really step out there and be a voice for you such that people donate to your cause. So we'll work with them on that side.
Yeah. And I'm sure like if people were all running, let's say the Houston Marathon, that just comes to mind. I mean, they probably could have like their like shirts that are for their nonprofit, or do you have like anything that, any special things that you guys do when, when it's for those other big events, just to keep the.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because it's another key component of our partnerships with these events. So I mentioned we have 16 with whom we've partnered throughout the year, and a couple of series that come to mind are the Bayou City Half Marathon series and the Run Houston Race series. So between those two series, there's 8 different events that people can do.
Mhm.
And the race directors for those events, they're just super generous.
Mhm.
And they have taken our, I guess you could say, our advice or our idea of, look, the folks who are doing these events for charity, they're obviously raising money for charity. And what the race director can do and does do with these 16 events is they set aside and earmark donation dollars that they're going to give to charity. But they don't just give it to 1 or 2 charities, they give it to the fundraisers who are
Mhm.
fundraising for charity. And so whoever the high fundraisers are, they'll give even more money as a donation to the charities. So if you and I go do an event and you do it for ABC charity, I do it for XYZ charity, if you're a higher fundraiser than I am, you'll get even more money from the race director than I will for the
Oh, wow.
charity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a really, really cool concept, because once people like get it, they go, oh, you mean if I raise more money, I can win more money for my charity? Then people start to book it and
Yeah.
they love it. And then at the event, we'll pull them up on the awards ceremony stand and we'll acknowledge them for their efforts. We'll do a video and post about them. So it's this really great experience for people who just want to make a difference, not only in their own health, but in the health of the community as well. So it's a great celebration.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. And I know, obviously we could talk about like how things we don't know about a lot of these events right now. Maybe we should probably touch on that. But I guess
I,
as an individual, this may be different than corporations or not. But if I'm an individual, like let's say, I can't go to my gym right now. I've decided maybe I'll start running to be active, like, but I need a little bit more motivation than that.
Mhm.
So new, like what do you do on the individual side? And even if like, are there options, maybe like new options with everything going on, or just, historically that could help an individual who wants to tap into that on their own?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, so you're speaking to the virtual event topic,
Mhm.
and the word virtual has become very, very popular in recent weeks here. And so here's an example. There's a nonprofit that they're putting on a virtual 5K, and they're calling it the toilet paper race. The Great Toilet Paper Race, and it's Neighborhood Kids Club. They're out in Katy, Texas. And they're just reaching out to folks and saying, look, do a 5K in your area, do it around your block, do it on your treadmill, but you're going to get a medal and you're going to be able to have a great experience doing your virtual 5K for our kids.
Mm.
And so people are on social media right now. So they see something like that and they go, oh, okay, I want to do that, because I've been talking for 3 weeks how I'm going to go actually go outside and walk. And then they see something, they go, oh, now I have a great excuse for walking, or a great excuse for getting my heartbeat up, and that is for the kids, and I get this really fun medal for the Great Toilet Paper Race. So
Sure, yeah. Hey, if it gets people moving, I'm all for it.
exactly.
Now, Gabrielle, I'm a runner, a running coach. I love getting people actually racing in that sense. But I noticed on your website for individuals, you mentioned that you can help them with other goals. Like,
Sure,
could you talk to us a little bit
sure.
about that?
So we learned relatively early on that while 5Ks and 10Ks and those endurance kind of events are really great as fundraisers, we our nonprofits sometimes have people that don't want to do those things and they want to do some other kind of activity like bowling, or they want to go on a hike, or they just want to do something that's not quote race related. So we've designed our system to be flexible enough to let people do whatever kind of event they want. So case in point, we have a nonprofit, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and they love bowling. And so their board members, they'll pick a Saturday and they'll set up fundraising campaigns and they'll bowl for the kids. And the first year, I think they raised, gosh, $13,000 just by having people go bowl for the kids. And over time, they've been able to build it as something that's a marquee fundraiser event for them, and it's become part of their toolbox and their toolkit for making a difference.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, Gabrielle, I know you help people pick their events, pick their nonprofit. What about if they're trying to figure out what their timeline needs to be, if this is their first time training for a given event? Do you have any resources for that part of things?
Sure. Yeah, people ask us those typical questions, and you probably get them as well. How long does it take to train for something, or where do I find resources? And we have kind of a toolbox for that, and because there's always the couch to 5K, or train for a half marathon in 13 weeks, or whatever that is. So those are definitely resources we can point to folks if they have not been able to find them on their own. But then even more important, we have fundraising tools and tips that we give them. We've developed a whole library of a couple of different things, actually. One is a library for the nonprofits so that they know how to use this fundraiser, they know how to communicate it and message it, and they have templates and techniques for it. And on the other side, there's the fundraiser tools and tips. So if you are going out there and you're going to do a fundraiser for the first time, your question is, okay, what do I do? Where do I start?
Yeah.
How do I actually communicate this thing? And inevitably people have that concern, or they have that thought of, oh, I'm not good at fundraising, or I don't know how to ask and all that. And I what I say to them is, look, join the club. Everybody kind of has that. And even Diane with Together in Hope, she had that at the very beginning. And I just said a few words that kind of lifted that concern for her. And then she was able to just be free and say what she said, and share her story, because really ultimately it's about the cause, and it's not about her asking for money for her. And once people kind of get over that shift, they're really fine. They really, really are fine. And I've been doing this for 10 years. And so it's a little easier for me to say, hey, here are the 5 steps to take. But believe me, I do my own yearly fundraiser for kids of incarcerated parents. And every year I pick my 5K or whatever event, and I put together my page and my fundraiser email asks and all. And I have the same, it's like, oh, I wonder if people are going to donate or not. And then I hit send and I move on with my day. And people either donate or they don't.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I know I have a client who ran the London Marathon last year, and she, had to do fundraising for the first time. So I was starting to see like just different, and I can't even think of any of the creative things that I was seeing out there, just being mindful of that, but interesting, how to get people activated. But stories are important. I mean, that's for sure.
They are. And where we tend to focus is have people being in touch with that, like that part of them inside that really wants to make a difference and matter. I really do believe that everybody does want to matter, and everybody does want to make a difference. And some of us are just in touch with that at different levels. And so we say, look, just be someone who's out to be a voice for something and see how it goes. You don't have to do it. You don't have to feel kind of like pressured or anything like that. It's just try it out, because we know you love the kids, or we know you love the animals. So just kind of talk about it, and then let people participate in that with you if they want to or not. Or just let them be happy that you're doing a 5K. let them be excited for you. Yay.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I guess, okay, I have to ask you a little bit about why your focus is the children with incarcerated parents, because I actually have a past as a classroom teacher when I lived in Houston, and I taught in a district where that was the case for a lot of kids.
Oh, wow.
So I'm curious what your connection is, or why that makes you important for you.
Sure. Well, I've been a volunteer with this organization called Cherish Our Children International. They're based here in Houston. They're over 20 years old. And my husband, Bill, who's co-founder of Reason2Race, we do this together. This is our passion. He was on the board of Cherish Our Children. And then at some point, they started to do a triathlon and raise money for that organization. And another lady who was on the board said, "Hey, will you come do this with us?" And at that point, I really fell in love with the organization because I was out there taking steps and walking and running and biking for those kids. And then I got to know the kids even better. And eventually those kids were my motivation for doing the Ironman triathlon in 2010. So it's been a long journey, and there's a lot of different elements and pieces to my connection with them, but ultimately it's about kids, and I have a real passion for kids, and I'm a big believer in do the work up front to avoid the repercussions of your actions now.
Right.
And so being part of an organization that's about keeping kids out of that cycle and being proactive, that speaks to me.
Yeah.
And then they helped me get to Ironman, so I have an affinity for them in that regard as well.
Yeah, well, congratulations on becoming an Ironman athlete. That's definitely, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. So I have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you. It was a wild journey.
Well, you're my hero for that. Wonder, Gabrielle, do you have any tips for people on the fundraising side of things? I know you said you have a big library, but any unique ideas that might be something the listeners could implement in their own fundraising efforts?
Sure. The first tip would be just ask yourself, what are you passionate about? And don't overcomplicate it. Sometimes people say, well, it's really hard to choose because I really love A and I really love B and I really love C. The fact that you said A first probably means it's A. You don't have to make it super complicated. And then let yourself kind of find an organization that does that. Like, oh, wow, there's one, kind of down the street or in the next city or whatever that is. And then just get to know them. And then think to yourself, all right, well, what's the fitness goal that I've always wanted to do and I never even told anybody about it? Hey, we'll pick that one. And then you can contact us and we'll help you put those two things together. And the next thing you know, you get to be a bigger person for people in the world.
I love that. And now, I mean, especially since you've gone through the preparation for the Ironman, do you have any tips for staying motivated? I mean, no matter what goal it is, because I think even if you're, just gonna I'm gonna put just in quotes, doing a 5K versus an Ironman, it still takes a lot of motivation and mental work to do it. So any tips for those of us getting started or with a new goal or just getting started in general?
Yes, the first thing is tell somebody about it. Don't do what we typically do, which is, we kind of in our silent moments, we say, oh, wow, I wish I could. And then you never tell anybody about it.
Right.
I suggest telling people about it. And then I suggest doing what I did, which was hang out with people who are doing that, whether it's virtually, whether it's in chat groups, because right now we can't get together in groups, but start hanging out with people who do that thing that you want to do, that first 5K or getting yourself up to a half marathon. I started to hang out with people who did Ironman because I wanted to do Ironman. And at first it was intimidating. At first I felt like, I kind of didn't belong. But then after a while, I just got to know them and I said, well, they've just been doing this longer than I have. That's all. They have their challenges too. And, they have their kids and schedules. And I have my concerns called, I'm not a good athlete.
Right.
Okay. So yes, start to tell people about it and then hang out with people who are for you succeeding in that.
That's a great point. And I think, even because I don't know if I'll ever do an Ironman personally, but I like to run, and I do, like, at races, I'll meet friends that are Ironman athletes. And I will say, like, even the Ironman athletes, I feel like I could consider them very intimidating, not knowing them, but meeting them, like they're very encouraging, and maybe you don't feel like your personal network is supportive of certain fitness goals, but like I love that tip that you gave about surrounding yourself with people that are doing it, because even if you think they're a little intimidating now, they might not really be so when you get out there.
Oh no. All right. I remember going on my first bike ride with the biking group down the street from the biking shop or whatever, and they have the A group, the B group, and the C group. A group's really fast and the C group is really slow. It's like, where is the C group? Let's go to the C group. And I kept up. with the C group. Now, I came back and told my husband that they dropped me after about 5 minutes. I was totally kidding. But I said, wow, I just did a 50-mile bike ride with the C group. There we go. Hey, now I have some proof, which is sometimes good news and sometimes bad news, because it's like, oh, now I can actually do it. Now
Right?
I've actually done it now. Darn.
Oh goodness. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we could talk forever. I love all these tips. I love what you guys are doing. I guess one thing, just in this given time, because I know like a lot of races and things I do, like they raise money for certain charities. You know,
Mhm.
I know that like nonprofits are struggling right now with what's going
Mhm.
on. Like, do you have anything you want to mention on that? I guess, you know, if people
I
want to,
do.
yeah.
I do. I always say if a nonprofit needs to raise money, it's worth a 15 to 20-minute phone call with us,
Mm,
because we don't, while yes, our product and our offering is having nonprofits raise money, it's such a bigger context than that,
sure.
because it's about having nonprofits be effective at engaging people to
Sure.
be on a mission with them.
Hmm.
And those are two different things. And when we work with the nonprofits, it's about engaging into the latter, which results in the former. So
Right.
engage people and it results in fundraising and money coming through the door. But there's something about widening the view of having people participate at a level that's going to widen awareness and bring additional funds in. So a
Hmm.
nonprofit right now that has, I'll make up a number. If they have, an email group of 500 people, they probably have about 50 people who are really gung ho.
Sure.
It's never the full email list, right? So where we work with them is, okay, well, how do you have those 50 people mobilize in a different way to create your next 50?
Hmm. Hmm.
And of course, that is going to result in additional funds, because there's a whole package that is wrapped around that, because people start to use the fundraising pages and money comes through the door. But we've baked out a system that has people want to step into being a bigger part of the mission.
Hmm.
And that's where we have excelled. And then we've created these different race partners to kind of have the whole system work together. So if they need to raise funds, if they need some new ideas and just a new jolt of energy, they should spend 15 minutes on the phone with us.
Yeah, well, for sure. I'll have to see who I could send your way personally, but that's good to know that. Yeah, because I know it's a I keep seeing stuff and I know it's a challenging time and good to.
It really is. It really, really is. And sometimes, I mean, quite frankly, I'll just get on the phone and talk to them about what's going on. And then we might come up with ideas that don't have anything to do with fundraising, but have to do with their moving their mission forward in some other way.
Sure.
And I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
really am, because my ultimate goal is that these nonprofits are successful at
Right.
what they're doing, because they're going to feed the kids and they're going to clothe the homeless. I mean, they literally are impacting people's lives every day. And if I can spend 15 minutes on the phone with them and give them some kind of relief from some worry they have, maybe
Right.
it's fundraising, maybe it's something else, that really is what I'm here for, because I have a short minute on the planet, just like we all do.
Yeah.
So I want to make the biggest difference I can.
Well, it's so cool that you've been able to create this and work with your husband, and it's such a passion of yours, and you guys are impacting so many people. So, congratulations on that. I mean, it's definitely impressive.
We're glad to do it. It's a real blessing, and like, so more to come.
Yeah. Anything else you want to leave the listeners with before we officially say goodbye?
Sure. So you can definitely visit us at our website, reason2race.com. We're on Facebook, reason2race or at reason2race, and Twitter and Instagram. So reach out to us, follow us, and get to know us. We'd love to extend our community and be a part of your successes, whatever those might be for you, and appreciate all you're doing, Catherine. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hi, friends, it's Catherine, and I'm popping by here to ask you, did you sign up for class yet this week? Would love to see you in one of our small online group fitness classes that we're offering at Fit Armadillo. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, these are currently being offered as pay what you can. So come join us. Even if you aren't in a position to be paying right now, we'd love to see you in class. You can get the class schedule by going to fitarmadillo.com/classes. That's fitarmadillo.com/classes. And if you don't see days and times that work for you, feel free to vote on future class times, or you're always welcome to, of course, work with one of our trainers one-on-one at your own place and pace and best time for you. The other thing I said I would talk to you about at the end of the show here is ways you can support the show. So, of course, you can go to our show notes page, fitarmadillo.com/podcast. I have a little offer there. If you support the show with a gift of $25 or more, one-time sponsor donation, you will be able to get a signed copy of my book, best-selling book, Superwomen Secrets Revealed. Successful women talk about fitting in fitness and dare you to join them. And otherwise, any amount is always greatly appreciated. You can, check out that link there. Do appreciate you greatly for that. The other idea that might be hopefully a no-brainer for you is to support us by using our Amazon affiliate link if you are purchasing anything on Amazon, but maybe what's on your mind right now is getting a gift for Mother's Day. If you're worried about shipping costs and shipping timelines, I guess, with everything going on, one idea I have for you is an Audible gift membership. So if you use the link fitarmadillo.com/audible gift, that's fitarmadillo.com/audible gift, you'll be able to learn more about Audible gift memberships in case you do want to purchase one for yourself or your mom or someone else. And if not, if you go on to shop Amazon after clicking on that link, you'll be using our affiliate link and we'll get a small portion of whatever you purchase at no additional cost to you. And that's greatly appreciated and will help support the podcast and my, hopefully sooner than later, new editing staff member here at Fit Armadillo. So hope you'll help us out with that. Hope you're having a great day. And if you subscribe to the show, I will chat with you tomorrow. Bye for now.